Hey, what's up, YouTube? Logan Johnson here. I just got back from the Salem, Oregon regional, where I finished top four. I lost the final round after going 7-0 to one of my buddies, Jeremy Glassman. His deck profile is also on the channel. But yeah, let's get right into the deck profile. All right, for the deck profile. This weekend, I did decide to play Maliss. I've kind of just switched back and forth the last like 4 weeks between Maliss and Mitsurugi Rizel. I think both decks are fantastic. They both have their own issues, but I've been just really trying to learn the meta as much as I can. Trying to learn all of the decks and how they play, because Nationals is coming up, and this is probably the format we will be in. But yeah, decided to play Maliss, and let's get right into the deck. 2 Dormouse, 2 White Rabbit. I played 2 Chessy Cat. I do like 3 of this card, but it's really hard to keep the deck at 40 while also playing 3 of this card. You kind of have to choose between either 3 of this or playing like a copy AI Meet You. 3 Hair, this card's ridiculous. 1 Gold Sark, 1 Terraforming and Honorary Malice cards. 2 Underground, 1 Malice in the Mirror, 1 TB, and then I decided to play GWC. In hindsight, this card wasn't actually that great. In the future, I would really like to test playing MTP and TB11. TB11 is a better extender. It's also better to draw going first. Most of the time, once you get to this card, you're already winning. Yeah, this card was a little bit underwhelming. Obviously, like gaining life points can happen. Like it is somewhat important. And also like playing around Bell, having this in Hair is somewhat important. But in the future, I would like to try TB and MTP. But I do think you need to play 2 traps. 3 backup, 1 wizard, 1 AI Meet You. It's additional consistency. It's more copies of cards that play under Chaos Hunter and Lancia, as well as being a thrust target in the side. And then moving on to hand traps. These ones are like honorary Malice cards as well. 1 Meg, 1 Druis. These cards are amazing. I feel like Magnemite is like one of the most broken cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 Fua. Instead of Perulia, I went with 3 Droll. I thought that Perulia was good in the mirror, but I didn't think it was like good enough to warrant having 3 dead cards in my deck going first. And I thought Droll was like okay into the mirror. Like it's good enough to keep them on a half board, and then my Malice cards can play through the board. Because Malice like actually plays pretty well into Malice's interruptions. And this card was just so fantastic against all the Mitsurugi decks. There's so many of them in the room right now. Like, even though Malice is like kind of the deck to beat, more people are playing Mitsurugi. Yeah, and like anytime you can just get to like a half board with this card, it's really, really good. 3 Ash, this is basically Called by the Grave. 3 Imperm. I was considering cutting down on this card, but you kind of just have to have it because Out's Detonator. God card, 3 Impulse. And there's only room for 2 Nib. This is kind of the worst hand trap. You don't want to draw multiples of it. And by itself, it's also not that great. And obviously has like some confliction with Impulse. Not really a lot, but there are games where like you kind of have to choose which one you're going to use first. But yeah, that's the main deck. It's a clean 40. For the extra deck, I played 1 of each of the Malice links. You don't need more. For the link ones, 2 Ling. This is standard, mandatory. 1 Link Spider. This card's so broken. I made this card infinite. 1 Almirage. This is kind of the flex spot. You kind of have to play 1 spot in your extra deck, so that when you draw like just backup or like backup in a hand trap, you're able to do something. I chose to play this one, not just because of like being able to like combo with backup in a hand trap, but also it doubled as like a replacement for Haggard, because in some of the games where like you have a Nib on the field and you need to like normal summon a hand trap and make Haggard and try to combo. I didn't play Haggard, so that didn't work, but you can just make this and make SP, and it kind of fixes that problem. So it kind of solved 2 extra deck slots in 1. I made this card a couple of times, and it was pretty good when I did. Then I played Splash Mage. Maybe one time I wanted a second one, but if you play properly, you usually don't need it. Wicked. This card's insane. No need to expand further on that. SP, you don't really make this card that much, but it's just such a good utility card, and it also just has like obvious synergy in your own deck. Then I played Dark. This card's fantastic when it comes up. It doesn't come up a whole lot. Also only played against one mirror match, and that's where this card really shines, but there's a lot of game states against Mitsurugi Rizal where like you bestial them and you just like immediately go into this and like link off your Druid Swarm, and it makes it really, really awkward for them to interact. And then for the big links, access code, that's standard. I played Firewall. I rarely made this card. The only times I really ever made this card is when I full comboed. If I was ending on a half board, instead of making this, I was making Topologic. Both of these cards are kind of mid. This card doubles as a Chaos Hunter out, so I think this card is better. I did make this card a lot, and it was a little bit underwhelming. It wasn't my favorite thing. I do think I misplayed a couple of times with this, though. I think there was some game states where I could have made Wicked underneath this, and I just didn't do it. I made Wicked like earlier in my combo instead of saving it for later. Yeah, Firewall is okay. I don't know if there's a better card to play than Firewall. The extra deck isn't like as tight as people really think it is. I also played Allied Code. I don't think you should cut this card. This card was great. It just punishes your opponent every time they like hand trap you wrong. It also punishes like all the board breaker decks. But that's the extra deck. And for the side deck, I feel like the main and extra and Maliss is like pretty standard, and then the side is where it gets like kind of unique. And then of course for the non-unique stuff, we play 3 Lancia, 3 Perulia, and then I played a thrust package, which was 3 thrust, 1 talents, 1 feather duster, and then my 3 traps of choice were Sanctum, Mischief of the Gnomes, and Black Goat Laughs. So the reason I went with the thrust package over the additional copies of AI Meet You was because I felt like the AI Meet You stuff played really hard into Perulia, played fairly hard into Meows, and also anytime they just had Lancia or Chaos Hunter plus another hand trap, it just wasn't going to get you there. Where Thrust gave me a lot more utility to just get to a blowout trap card, as well as just like utility going second. There's a lot of matchups where like going second, I was siding in 1 thrust, 1 duster, 1 talents against like a lot of the mid-range decks, and that was very, very good. And for the trap choices, I think Gnomes is like the best one. This card is so crazy against Mitsurugi Rizal. Sanctum, it could be Simul Archfiends. There's reasons for both. I went with Sanctum. Usually if your opponent has like Asher Impulse, they're going to Asher Impulse you on your turn. So it's pretty rare that this gets punished. It's just like the safest one in my opinion. And then Black Goat. I don't know if I'd play this again. The idea behind this was it was something that I could side in thrust against decks that these 2 cards didn't hit, and it was just like a catch-all card. I don't know. I never drew it. I never thrusted for it. It's also cool because if you draw it, you can discard it with backup, which is kind of cool. Maybe I would try it again. And then the last card in my side deck was Call by the Grave. This is a god card. I was really tempted to main it, but there's just no room in the main. But yeah, that's the deck. I do want to give some big shout outs here. First off, I want to shout out Tristan Bridges and Jeremy Glassman. I tested with them a lot the night before. And Lucas Sacco, Logan Shepard, they helped me a lot with the Maliss combos and just like how to sequence the deck, because I haven't played a whole lot of Maliss. I've only played this deck at 2 regionals and, you know, a couple of days of playtesting outside of that. Big shout out Johnny Perkins, the Gaming Metro, Hub City Collectibles, SK Games. Big shout out Daniel Ramirez, Slumpy. He swapped me all these 0 print cards for free. That was awesome. Big shout out to everybody I played in Salem. You guys are awesome. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Later.